it's a natural response to want to give our children a different experience from the one we had. But sometimes we end up kind of overcorrecting and doing the opposite, as you've said. And so I think we teach children about money in many different ways. I do think it's good to teach them about the value of money, and so give them that experience, the allowance early on, so that they can have the experience of managing their money, making those choices. Do I spend? Do I save? Do I, put it away, give it to a friend? All of those things, so that they can start to really understand also all the feelings that come with, the joy of giving it to a friend, but then maybe the regret that you've given too much away and there's not enough for you, and so on. But I guess what you're saying is that you're not teaching the limits around money that you find so helpful and that you had to learn the hard way. And so you need to be mindful of that.
I also love going to like a wacky warehouse, or like, have you been to a water park? They're amazing. You can't go as a 35-year-old man by yourself. So I'm like in there, I'm like, this place is great. Let's go. Every weekend we'll go do something.
Well, that's great. And I guess you can do that.
But it probably teaches him that that's normal, and it's not. When I was a kid, we went to cinema once a year, and that felt like a big deal. Mm-hmm. And I appreciated it. The cinema to him is like, standard Friday, mate.
Basic.
Get me an ice blast and I'll have the usual. Like, literally, that's what it's like. Do you know what I mean?
You're right, Terry. Usual for
Chuck
me.
the M&Ms in,
but I think what could be helpful is a lot of times we make a decision in our minds, and that children don't see, and so maybe doing a little bit of that out loud. So saying, look, we came to Wacky Warehouse again, which is quite an expense. So maybe we'll save on the whatever it is, the popcorn or the ice cream this time. Or, even in the supermarket, if you bring them along, kind of talk them through kind of the process that you go through in order to make the choices. So, if you reach out for one cereal, say, actually, I'll go for this one because it's a bit cheaper. And then they can start learning from you that, you are making money choices in a kind of mindful way. And so you can, in a way, teach them that you can enjoy money and go to Wacky Warehouse, but that somewhere else you're going to have to save. So maybe, we'll buy the cheaper bike and rather than the, top end one. That
it does work, because the other day I had a business expense and I took a picture of a receipt, and someone was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm taking a picture because I can get the VAT back on this because it's a business expense." Mm-hmm. It's definitely a business expense. and then now everywhere we go, he's getting the receipts. He's like, "You get £6 VAT back on this." And I was like, "No, that's not a business expense. It's a meal out." But he became so aware of it, and he's like, "Can I check your VAT? Check your VAT." And every receipt he's getting, he's like looking. So he really took that, you know.
That's good.
And there's some clever books out there that can teach kids about money in kind of a simple, age-appropriate way. And that's the other thing. You need to do things in an age-appropriate way. You don't want to kind of overshare about your financial anxieties with a child, because that will, only overwhelm them. And it's just about giving them experience with the thing itself. But one of the points that I make in the book is that we're teaching children about money in many other ways. You're teaching him about giving and receiving when you're giving and receiving in other ways, when you're, giving a compliment or whatever it is. And so they learn a lot about sharing with siblings, about, equality, about fairness, in all these other areas of life. And that's useful for how they'll behave with money later on as adults.
When you said that it's natural for people to want to give kids a better childhood than they had, or I had a great childhood, so I'd be like Damo. I'm like Damo. I want to give my son everything, like anything. He's almost 2, so he can't really speak very much, so he can't tell me what he wants, but I know when he wants an ice cream or like whatever, I take him to the park a lot. But isn't it natural for people like to not want to save on your kids? Like, you work hard for your family, so if they want to go to the amusement park like every day and you can take them every day, wouldn't you want to? Isn't it natural to be like, not show them restraints, because the rest of the life they're going to have restraints. You can't do this, you can't go there, you can't do this, like you need more money for this, you need more followers for this, whatever it is. But like, shouldn't you want to just spoil them when they're kids if you can, because that's why we work, so they can have a good life?
Well, I think you said it. I think the word spoil says everything. You know, it's great to give to children, and in a way we experience joy when we give them and see it through their eyes.
Makes us feel good about ourselves.
It makes us feel good.
But I'd rather spend something for him than myself. It feels better. Yeah,
and also we kind of live vicariously through them. You know, if your parents never took you to Disney and you take your own children to Disney, it's almost as if, you know, the child in you is going to Disney, and that's a great feeling. And I don't think people shouldn't do that, but I think you need to overall as a parent think, you know, am I just saying yes to everything? Yeah. And so I'm not teaching this child any limits. And how is that setting them up for life? Because then they'll grow up and feel that, you know, money will always be there. It's, you know, unlimited, and they want
everyone will give them stuff, and
everyone will give them. They'll always get what they want. And are you being the best parent for them by modeling that?
It's a hard thing to do, though, isn't it? To deny a child when you just want them to, like, you know,
be happy and love you.
But you know, sometimes there's kind of nice ways to do it. You know, if a child wants, you know, 3 scoops of ice cream, you don't say you don't have ice cream. You can just say, you know, we'll get the small one today, because, you know, 3 scoops is, I don't know, £6, and you know, it's.
Then I can't have 3 scoops. I'm there with 10 scoops. Like, you can have the little cone, mate.
How do you feel about giving allowance, though? Because you said great points on, like, it shows teaching them how to share and like the value of it, and looking forward to allowance and how to spend, and like budgeting. But doesn't it seems like giving them free money? Shouldn't you, like I said in another episode, my parents made me do some chores for like allowance, and then everyone was like, what? Chores? You shouldn't make your children work for money. And I'm like, what? Why not?
It's a slippery slope, because then where do you draw the line around, you know, what are they responsible for at home?
I was responsible for loading and unloading the dishwasher and setting the table. So, and then if I wanted extra money, I could wash my parents' car, and I did a terrible job every time. And then they took it to the car wash after, because I was not very good at washing the car. But yeah, it was like things like that.
But I think that's a good way to do it. Like, there's things that we're all expected to help with at home, and then there's things that are exceptional that we can get paid for. So, you know, washing the car, or, you know, whatever, a gardening job or something like that, right? But not making it conditional. Otherwise, I guess you'll create really lazy children that won't want to do anything and will blackmail you.
Yeah, this is a clip from our episode with psychotherapist Vicky Raynor.
If you want to watch the full episode, you just click right here.